Welcome. Good morning, everyone. On the behalf of the Northwest region of the American Red Cross, welcome to the 2022 Annual Heroes Breakfast. I'm Kim Holcomb from King 5's Evening, and I am thrilled to be with all of you this morning. This is my 6th year hosting the Heroes Breakfast, and the reason I keep coming back may be the same as yours. Not only are we supporting the humanitarian mission of the American Red Cross, but we're doing it in celebration of the human spirit, determination, and generosity. I'm of course referring to the generosity that comes from the selfless, sometimes dangerous actions that turn average Janes and Joes into heroes. We know this event would not be possible without support and contributions from our sponsors, so thank you to our title sponsors, Amazon and Costco, for renewing your support of the Heroes event year after year. Your generosity is vital to fueling our Red Cross programs and services. And a huge thank you to everyone for spending your morning with us. As we applaud the life-saving actions of this year's local heroes, you will have the opportunity to support the life-saving mission of the Red Cross with your own contributions. Contributions that will be amplified thanks to a $50,000 challenge match from an anonymous donor. You'll hear more about that later in the program, but for now, thank you to that anonymous donor who is extending the impact of our combined fundraising efforts this morning. I thank you, the Red Cross thanks you on behalf of the lives that will be impacted in the days ahead. 2021 was a year of vaccines and variants. For the Red Cross, it was also a year of home fires and floods, of scorching temperatures and tornadoes. None of us are strangers to adversity anymore. How we rise to these challenges determines how we will weather the storm. The Northwest region of the American Red Cross has hundreds of volunteers, staff, and generous donors to thank for showing up when local disasters happen, for hosting blood drives and donating blood to address a national shortage, for supporting our military members and their families, and preparing our communities to respond to future emergencies. And now to hear about more of the work of this organization that is so near and dear to our hearts, it is my pleasure to introduce American Red Cross Northwest Region CEO, Alex Diefenbach.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us as we honor everyday heroes at the 2022 American Red Cross Heroes Breakfast. My name is Alex Diefenbach, and I am the CEO for the Northwest Region. First of all, I want to thank Kim Holcomb for returning for another year as our amazing MC. Thank you so much, Kim. I also want to thank our Heroes Breakfast board chair for this year, Paula Beadle. Paula has done so much to make this year's event a success, and we simply could not have done it without her leadership, energy, and insight. In addition, the King County Board and the South Puget Sound and Olympics board members have also been instrumental in making this event truly spectacular. And lastly, I want to congratulate our heroes who are being honored today. Each one of them decided to make a difference and not only save a life, but change lives in the process. At the American Red Cross, our humanitarian goal is to eliminate human suffering. During COVID, families and communities have needed our services more than ever. This past year, we have responded to home fires at all hours of the day and night in every community across the region. Red Crossers venturing out to help their neighbors. We have helped communities rebuild after massive wildfires and flooding devastated their neighborhoods. Red Crossers helping to rebuild lives. Our service to the armed forces teams have supported veterans in need and have been there for our military families and individuals in so many ways, including deploying 30 team members and providing support to other Red Cross entities to aid in the relief efforts caused by the invasion of Ukraine. This past year, our training services team has trained over 40,000 people in the region in first aid and CPR. Our Sound the Alarm program continues to put free working smoke alarms in people's homes, saving lives in the process. Later this morning, you will hear more about our blood collection team and the current blood shortage. You may know that the American Red Cross supplies 40% of the nation's blood, and this last winter, we faced the worst blood shortage in over a decade. However, even during this challenging time, our team has worked tirelessly with partners and donors to try and keep the nation's blood supply at acceptable levels. To say that I am proud of this region and this organization would be a massive understatement. In my job, I am fortunate to see the true colors of humanity. Friends helping friends because they are in need. Every day I have the privilege to see empathy in action. Despite reports to the contrary, this gives me great hope for the future. I get to see people performing amazing acts of grace on a regular basis that makes me proud to be an American and so hopeful for tomorrow. So please join me in celebrating today's heroes and consider joining the American Red Cross and becoming a hero yourself. Kim, back to you.
Thank you, Alex, for all the work of the Red Cross across our country and here in the Northwest region. And yes, it is time to start congratulating and thanking our 2022 heroes. So let's meet them and hear their stories. To start the introduction, I'd like to welcome Abe Diaz from presenting sponsor Amazon.
Thank you, Kim. I'm Abe Diaz, Principal Technical Product Manager for Amazon's Disaster Relief Team. It's wonderful to join you this morning on behalf of Amazon. Supporting the annual Heroes Breakfast is one of the many ways we partner with the American Red Cross throughout the year to bring hope and help to those after a disaster. We know very well how many disasters happen all over the world. Sometimes they happen miles away, sometimes they happen right here at home. And that's what forged our first group of heroes, a home fire that could have ended very differently if it wasn't for their quick action and thinking.
I was rolling around the corner when you cussed over the radio.
It was a night these King County Sheriff's deputies will talk about for years.
We did a lot of stuff very quickly.
They thought they were responding to a routine burglary call in Shoreline that April night.
So I looked in the window, and as I was looking in the window, that's when it exploded.
The apartment they were called to burst into flames. Suddenly, the deputies were facing fire, thick black smoke, and a building full of sleeping people.
We knew what we had to do and we did it.
In they went, kicking doors in, carrying people out.
We ran into quite a few disabled and had to take it slow, but also kind of, hey, we're gonna have to grab you. You know, we gotta get you out of here.
I felt so bad for this lady because she just said she had a back surgery and I'm having to drag her down these stairs. And she's like, I don't care, just get me out. So we drug her out.
Billowing us with smoke.
Unlike their firefighter colleagues, these deputies didn't have oxygen tanks, protective gear, or experience in fire rescue. Just determination to do what had to be done.
I remember an old captain telling me, you know, what's different between us and some other jobs is we run in when everybody's running out, and this is exactly an example of what it is. And, you know, these guys never let me down.
We heard the officer saying to get out, fire. We did exactly what he told us to do.
Sergeant Owens was kind of directing people, go this way, the tenants, and I puked on his boot. And at that point, that's when he grabbed me and was like, I think you're done. I think you're done.
All of the deputies involved in the rescue had to be taken to Harborview for smoke inhalation. They were the only ones who needed a hospital. By the time firefighters arrived, everyone was out.
I just knew that we had to get people out, and to hear that we got everybody out and nobody got hurt, like even like minor injuries, like it was good to know, because I really think if we hadn't reacted as fast as we did, or I would have just waited on the outside, people would have died for sure.
I would do it again. You can't say no. You know, it's a decision that after the smoke settles, you have to live with what happened, and I would rather have gone through it than not.
Thank you, officers. Your call to serve our community saved and forever changed the lives of the survivors and their families. Thank you for having the courage to respond when you were so needed. Okay, before we move on to our next Hero Award, let's take a moment to thank this year's fundraising champions. Fundraising champions are the board members, staff, and volunteers who rally their friends, family, and coworkers to support the Red Cross mission through financial gifts. Wherever you are joining us from today, you are equally able and encouraged to help us raise critical funds for the Red Cross. Now let's turn to our next Hero Award. I am excited to recognize one of the Northwest region's superstar volunteers. Tracy Sheehy is everywhere, doing everything she can to support the Red Cross mission, alleviating human suffering in the face of disaster. As you're about to see, she has helped countless people in her time as a volunteer. And then there was this one time she saved a life.
Babb Road fire, which claimed Malden, just one of many burning throughout the state. Governor Inslee declaring a state of emergency in Washington.
Disasters don't take holidays. They don't take weekends off. Disasters don't sleep. And that's why Red Cross volunteer Tracy Sheehy doesn't either.
No. Everybody asks that question. I don't sleep.
In fact, the morning we interviewed her for her Hero Award, Tracy had been up half the night.
This morning at 2 o'clock, we were called to the scene of a 6-unit apartment fire in Tacoma. And so we were there all morning taking care of the clients for that.
Tracy is like she's like the breath of the South Puget Sound Olympics region or chapter. If something's going on in the chapter, Tracy's involved in it.
I love it. Being a former firefighter, being the need and helping people, it's in my blood. And so I've been doing this with the Red Cross for 13 years. And it's just something that I find a need and, the passion to do that. I want to help people.
Tracy is a disaster action team, or DAT leader. That means she's on call for whatever happens, whenever it happens.
Tracy has deployed probably, well, I don't know, I couldn't even begin to guess the number of times, but she's been across the country for fires, tornadoes, hurricanes, floods, all those kinds of things.
Tracy has deployed all over the country, but also close to her Pierce County home. She helped with the 2020 Labor Day weekend fire in Bonnie Lake.
It's a good app.
And she popped out of bed early this past Thanksgiving morning when an app on her phone called Pulse Point alerted her that a man in a grocery store parking lot a half block away needed CPR.
He was unresponsive. He was already turning blue. And so I was able to do compressions until the fire department arrived. And when they arrived, he had a pulse. And by the time they left, he was ambulatory, which means he was awake and mobile, and they transported him to the hospital.
When disaster shows up, whether it's affecting just one person or an entire community, Tracy shows up too. That's why on Thanksgiving Day and every day, or night, so many are thankful for Tracy.
Tracy, congratulations on your award and thank you for your amazing actions. I think you've earned at least one good night of sleep. We are all rooting for you. And I hope you are all enjoying this year's program as much as I am, perhaps finding new ways to get involved or get involved in the Red Cross mission. Just keep us posted. Okay, our next presenter is also a board member representing the partnership between the American Red Cross and Puget Sound Energy. Let's welcome Hayden Harvey to the screen.
Good morning, Kim and everyone. Keeping our communities safe, supported, and thriving is fundamental for Puget Sound Energy. At PSE, we know that the strength of our community is the result of contributions from many. We all have a role to play. That's what touches me so deeply about this next hero's actions. Toriana Davis's story is still being written. Despite the uncertainty in her own life, there is no question her character is leading her to something great.
18-year-old Toriana Davis sat at this bus stop feeling down. She just missed the bus to get school supplies she needed to work toward her GED. The night before, she'd moved into a shelter next door to the Rainier Valley Food Bank. She was in a hard place. It turns out she was exactly where someone else needed her to be.
He was sitting here, I was sitting over there.
A food bank volunteer who'd just left his shift collapsed at the bus stop.
No pulse, no breath. He was gone. He was gone. Like there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He was dead.
Tori called 911 and started CPR. A bystander captured Tori doing all she could to save a stranger's life.
Paramedics came, pulled me up off of him. I cried. I could lie, I cried. I don't know why I cried. I'm like, I don't know this man, but I cried. I told him he was gonna be okay, and he was okay.
She actually became a superstar at the Rainier Valley Food Bank because she saved a life. Actually, another family member / volunteer.
The man she saved is back to taking some occasional shifts at the food bank. His co-workers are grateful that Tori made that possible.
She's part of the family, most definitely. She was when she first came in. You know, we take in everybody, we're a community, so she was part of the family, but now she's the family hero.
It's like, I don't believe in coincidences, so everything happens for a reason. There's a reason for everything.
On a day she was feeling a bit like an underdog, Tori made a brave choice and became a hero.
I feel good. I feel good. I feel accomplished. I feel like I did something that I'll forever be blessed for.
What an incredible story. Congratulations, Toriana, and thank you for your quick action. The Red Cross knows all about the power of acting quickly in times of need across all of our lines of service. This is especially essential when it comes to maintaining the nation's blood supply. The Red Cross supplies 40% of the nation's blood, and this last winter faced the worst blood shortage in over a decade. In fact, we're still working to overcome it. Your blood donations become a life-saving product for accident and burn victims, heart surgery, and organ transplant patients, as well as treatments for those receiving treatment for leukemia, cancer, or sickle cell disease. Donated blood may have already helped to save the life of someone you know, someone like this mother and son who relied on blood donations at the most vulnerable time of their lives.
What? 1, 2, 3, 4.
I thought you were right here.
So in 2013, I was pregnant with Thor.
This one.
Big one. And right away, I was really sick. And so I started going to various specialists and doctors and getting lots of blood work. And every time the same conclusion was, we don't know what's going on. It's complicated because you're pregnant, but your blood levels are dropping. And I was bleeding from my mouth and my nose, and we couldn't get it to stop. So we rushed to the ICU, and so they diagnosed me with a disease called severe aplastic anemia, where my bone marrow in my body was not making enough blood lines to sustain my life or the life of our son. And so at 33 weeks, the doctors determined that it was better for Thor to try to survive outside of my womb than inside of my womb. And that was really hard. I remained in the hospital until I ended up delivering Thor. And in order to sustain our pregnancy up until 33 weeks, I was a frequent recipient of blood and platelets. But when Thor was born, we quickly could tell that he was going to need blood and platelets because his blood levels matched mine, which I was not expecting, and that was really disheartening. But thankfully, there was blood and platelets, and he began to thrive. And so it was really just such a beautiful picture to me of someone giving of their life so that my son's life could start creating on its own. And so from that first stint into ICU until about 2 years later, I required over 40 units of blood and platelets in order to get to the place where I am now. We are so touched and so thankful because we can't do that, but we get to receive. And sometimes giving gifts is a blessing, but receiving something that your body can't make from somebody else is life-changing. It sounds cliche to say that there's not a day that goes by that I'm not thankful, but that's the truth. Every day I, in some way, see my son and know that he's a miracle, see the fact that I can be a mother to our whole family.
Because you already knew one day.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're here to tell our story and continue to encourage other people to add value to other people's lives by donating blood. It's just, there's no way to really describe the impact that the Red Cross has had on our lives, but it's going to continue to be limitless.
Okay, wow. I know I am now ready to make a blood donation appointment after today's event, and honestly, it couldn't be easier. Download the Red Cross Blood Donor app right now and get started, or you can visit redcrossblood.org. All right, everyone, it is clear this morning's heroes are nothing short of amazing. We have one final individual to recognize before we hear from a couple of special speakers. I'd like to welcome our final award presenter. He is a donor, a board member, and a community leader. Justin Van Lanschut.
Thank you, Kim. I'm thrilled to be here with my partner Kelly, my son Maxwell, and so many amazing humanitarians supporting the Red Cross, and to present this award. Today we've heard many stories of quick and decisive action. Yet, sometimes what makes a hero is their ability to slow down in a crisis. Our final hero, Lamar Bond, did just that as he approached a delicate situation with calmness and confidence. We honor Lamar for going above and beyond the call of duty to help a stranger in distress.
It was a dark September morning on Pierce Transit's busiest bus route. A 25-year veteran driver with more than 1 million miles under his belt saw something wrong on an overpass above I-5. He reported it, and Service Supervisor Lamar Bond got a chilling and urgent radio call.
And they said that it was a guy on the bridge, Pacific Avenue Bridge, and he appeared to be ready to jump.
He rushed to the overpass.
He was hanging over the bridge. His hands were literally holding on to that rail.
The man was on the other side of the rail, threatening to jump onto the freeway below, which was filling with weekday morning traffic.
It would have been devastating. So what I did, I got out of my van, walked over to him, and I said, no, no, no. And then I used my hands like so. And I said, this way, this way. He came back over the rail, and then I said, down like this. And then he sat down on the cement. And then I spoke to him for at least 30 minutes, just making a conversation.
He didn't say anything back to me, but it was his eyes that was focused on mine.
Lamar talked with the distraught man until help arrived.
I had sympathy for him, and I was able to help when help was needed.
And it's a typical example of our operators and service supervisors here at Pierce Transit.
Pierce Transit workers help hundreds of people every day, or one person on that day. They went the extra mile.
Well, they saved a life.
I thank God that I was able to be there at that moment to help him out.
Thank you again, Lamar, for your calm and courage, and for saving that man's life. And good morning, everyone. My name is Daniel Worth, and I have been a member of the American Red Cross for 8 years. I'm also a husband and a father of 3 beautiful children, Luna, Orion, and Zephyr, who is just about 18 months old. I'll tell you a bit more about them later. By some standards, I'm still a newcomer to this region. I moved here around the start of the pandemic to serve as Executive Director of the South Puget Sound and Olympics chapter of the American Red Cross. It's not quite the largest chapter by geography, but it covers a lot of ground, from Pierce County down and around all the way up to the tip of the peninsula. It has been my great honor to get to know the people, culture, and spirit of this great place, and now with my family call it home. You never really know what you're getting into when you take a Red Cross assignment, and the nature of our world and the increasing rate of natural disasters makes that too unpredictable. What we do know is there will be disasters, and there will be people and families impacted. That has never been truer than in my time with the American Red Cross, and just in the last 4 months. It started for me just before Thanksgiving. Remember that atmospheric river that might have put a damper on your holiday plans? Well, what was an inconvenience for some was a life-altering disaster for others. Major flooding hit Skagit and Whatcom counties, where hundreds of homes were washed out and destroyed. Remember the geography of my chapter and that northern part of the peninsula? Clallam County was the lesser-told story of that weather event. Roads were washed out, communities cut off. The damage leaving many more individuals in need of help and hope, and the Red Cross responded. I was in Forks on a day in early December to conduct damage assessment in areas where roads were finally reopening. We met with victims to provide financial support. I had no idea that was just the beginning of what became a months-long disaster response campaign. 5 days later, I was in Kentucky supporting tornado response. 5 weeks later, I was back in my own chapter where yet another weather event generated enough rain and snowmelt to flood and shut down part of I-5. Having trouble keeping up? Me too. I'll slow down. You see, before moving to the Pacific Northwest, I was the regional disaster officer for the Kentucky region of the American Red Cross. So when a catastrophic tornado tore across the state, it was personal. I knew the area, had friends who had been impacted, and I knew that being fluent in Spanish would help deliver the services to those who needed it most. I agreed to take on the temporary role of itinerating deputy assistant director, but not before getting the okay from my wife and 3 kids. Parents, I know you can relate. At this stage of family life, being away for a single night is a really big deal. So being asked to leave for 2 to 3 weeks right before the Christmas holiday was an even bigger deal. That was a long conversation, and I am so lucky to have a compassionate partner and those wonderful kids in my life. They may not know the exact deals of what I do, but they know that Papa helps people. Together, we agreed the right thing to do was deploy. My son asked me if he could give me a stuffed animal to take on the trip to remind me of him. Then my daughter did too. So I ended up taking 3 little stuffed animals with me: a unicorn, a caterpillar, and a whale. Funny, the little things that bring us comfort. Having these little stuffed representations of love in my luggage helped me get through everything while I was away. And I saw destruction on a scale that's hard to imagine. One of my old office buildings was leveled among entire neighborhoods where nothing left standing. When there isn't much infrastructure left, you improvise. We set up emergency aid stations on street corners to hand out supplies. We offered spiritual care, mental health, and health services at the aid stations for survivors to get the support that they need. And we improvised again, and that need was great. We took the show on the road, and we made mobile community operation centers. And we went into the communities where people needed us and couldn't leave their homes. As you already know, just as one assignment was ending, a new one was taking shape. A couple of days before my return to Washington State, I learned that a new weather event and flood projections on a level to mirror the South Sound flooding from 2007 were on track, when almost 1,000 structures were damaged or destroyed. The chapter started scaling up without me. And trust me when I say we have an exceptional team of volunteers who are more than up to the task. Justin, Mike, Larry, Tracy, I'm honored to be on your team. Thankfully, predictions didn't match reality. But for the individuals and families who are impacted, it was very real. Disasters are incredibly personal. They hit us in our homes and take away the things that make the memories that remind us of people we love. That's why I'm so proud to be a Red Crosser. Whether it's here, there, or back again, wherever I go, wherever we go, the mission is to provide help and hope in times of despair. Your gifts power the people and the programs that make it possible. Whether you're one of the folks like me who deliver services in person or right here today, giving what you can, you are providing survivors with immediate needs like shelter, food, emotional support, and yes, we even have stuffed animals to comfort small children like my own. I've seen the good your donations do. I thank you for giving them and giving me the opportunity to do what I love. This Papa helps people, and I plan continuing helping people whenever there's a need. Because the one thing that's predictable about disasters is that they will happen again, and the Red Cross will be there when they do. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Paula Beadle, and I am a Red Cross King County board member and this year's event chair. I am thrilled to be with all of you today, and I've been touched and inspired by this morning's stories, and I know you have too. Dan, thank you for sharing your incredible journey with all of us. I know we are all so grateful for your commitment to serving others close to home and far away. Your spirit and dedication reminds us why we are all here today. We share a common admiration and commitment to the American Red Cross and the mission. You've heard some truly amazing stories this morning, stories that demonstrate the best of human kindness right here in our region. And just like our heroes, you can take action by supporting Red Cross programs and services. At this time, we'd like you to consider one of the virtual donation options available to you at home. You can scroll down and donate here on the event page, or you can use your phone and text RC Heroes 22 to 76278. So one more time, RC Heroes 22 to 76278. $250 is the typical donation at the breakfast this year. And we have an anonymous donor that is matching donations of $500 or more. So this means you can double your impact today, and your gift, it does have an impact. $600 provides 40 smoke alarm installations to prevent home fire deaths. $1,000 builds safer communities with CPR and first aid training classes. $3,900 covers the entire cost of a blood drive. We know there will be other apartment or home fires, others in need of CPR or life-saving blood. Your generosity empowers the mission of the Red Cross to prevent and alleviate human suffering in the face of emergencies here in the Northwest region and across the country. Thank you so much for your generosity and for joining us this morning. Thank you.
Thank you everyone so much for being a part of the 2022 Red Cross Heroes Breakfast. This has been a truly special and inspiring morning, and we are so grateful to have you join us today. I hope each of you take action once you leave this room, just as our heroes took action in their communities. There are so many ways to get involved and spread the word. You are a hero just for being here this morning, and we challenge you to take the next step, whether it's donating blood, signing up for a CPR class, or simply sharing today's stories of heroism with your own networks. Thank you again, everyone, and we look forward to seeing you next year.